the Unit 3 exam review sheet, and we're going to get right to it, because I don't want this to be an hour long. You see, parentheses, use distributive property for number 1. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 10 is negative 40. Bring down everything else. That's 4x plus 15. Okay. And then you have to get the x's together. Remember, you have x's on both sides. You have to get them together. So you do the inverse operations because you're passing this wall right here, this equal sign. As long as you're passing an equal sign, you have to get those x together. You have to use inverse operations. Negative 40 comes down. Don't forget about the equal sign. And 15 comes down. Now, this is not true. Negative 40 does not equal 15. So, the answer to this is no solution. There is no number that would satisfy this equation. So, there's no solution. When you get something that's not equal on both sides, that means there's no solution. For the next one, you have 3/4 times 4. 4x. So I'm just going to go down here. 3 over 4 times 4 over 1. Sorry for writing it so small, but there we go. 4 times 3 is 12 over 4. 12 over 4 is 3. So 3/4 times 4x is 3x. Then I'm going to do 3 over 4 times 8, or negative 8, times negative 8. Negative 3 times negative 8 is negative 24 over 4, and that is negative 6, because 4 goes into negative 24 negative 6 times. Without a calculator, you could do that. This becomes a 2-step equation, and then you add 6 on both sides, and very easily the 6's cancel. 3x comes down, equals 30. Divide by 3 on both sides, and the x equals 10. Not bad. Question 3 and 4 ask a series of questions about relationships of angles. So, which pair of angles are vertical? 1 is vertical to 4. So angle 1, angle 1 and 4. Angle 2 and 3 are vertical. Angle 5 and 8 and one more, 7 and 6. Right across from each other. Vertical angles are right across from each other. Alright, so 7 and 6. Those are all the vertical angles. Which pair are corresponding? I'm going to erase this. Which pair are corresponding? 1 and 5 are corresponding. They're on the same side of the transversal in the same section of the, intersecting lines. So 1 and 5. And if you see, it looks like a backward C at that point. So 1 and 5. Then you have 3, a backward C again, skips one angle to 7. Then you have 2 and 6. And the last corresponding angle is 4. Corresponding angles are 4 and 8. Those are the corresponding angles. Which pair are alternate interior? Remember, interior means inside, in. So I'm going to go to 3 because that's an interior angle. And alternate means across from. So which angle is across from 3 and inside? 6. 3 and 6. There's only one other pair of alternate interior angles, 4 and 5, both inside and across from each other. Okay, so as soon as you see that word interior, means in. So you could use that as a trick. Exterior has exit, basically almost sounds like exit. So that means it's outside. Outside. 1, 2, 7, and 8. But alternate in exterior means across from each other and outside. So you have 1 and 8 across from each other and outside. 1 and 8. 1 and 8. Then you have 2 and 7. Alternate exterior. 2 and 7. Alright, alternate exterior angles. That takes care of that. Okay, so number 5. Gym A charges a yearly fee of $100 plus $10 a month. Gym B charges a yearly fee of $50 plus $15 a month. How many months is the cost the same? So anytime you are comparing two gyms or anything, you have to set them equal to each other. All right, so this one over here, 100 plus $10 a month is 100 plus 10M. I'm going to put M because that's a month. I'm going to put equal sign and 50 plus 15 a month. 50 plus 15M. Okay, so you have an equation with variables on both sides. I'm going to bring the smaller over to the larger. And remember, you're taking it across this equal sign. You can even draw like a little wall here. If you're passing the wall, you have to use inverse operations to get that to the other side. The 10M's cancel. You have 100 coming down. 50 comes down from here. And then you have 15M minus 10M. That is 5M. Again, you use inverse operations to pass through the equal sign. This cancels. You got 5M equals 50. You divide by 5. Divide by 5. Cancels. M comes down. Equals 10 months. At 10 months, these gyms will be the same. At 10 months. And that's it. Number 6. Find the value of all missing angles. This is a very important question. They always have some kind of triangle or something like this. They love these questions. But just remember, it's not that difficult. Remember two things. You have to remember that all triangles the sum of all interior angles in a triangle equal 180 degrees. All right, so that's one thing. The next thing you have to remember, you're looking to get two angle measurements. That's nice, I know how to spell. Inside the triangle. We're going to get two measurements inside that triangle. Because if you get two measurements inside that triangle, you get the third angle. And straight lines equal 180 degrees. So if you keep this in mind and you're looking at this, you have to get y or x first. Obviously you have to get y and x for this question, but they're leading you into one of the angles, and they're leading you right here. You see this 120 degrees? It's this angle right here. That's the 120 degree angle. If this is if this is right here, a straight line, obviously if you take 180 minus 120, you'll get this angle, and then you'll have two angles inside the triangle, and you can get the next one easily. So I would do 180 minus 120 and you would get 60 degrees. So x equals 60. Well, we know if x equals 60, now you have two angles inside. You could add them together, and you could see that it's 130 degrees. So if this plus this equals 130, this plus this plus this has to equal 180. To find the missing y, you would just do 180 again minus 130, because that missing part, that y, has to be a number that when you add to the other two angles has to be equal to 180. And if you look, this is 50 degrees, right? 50 plus 60 plus 70 is 180. That's the interior angles of a triangle. So that's how you would do it. Another way you could do it, another way, this is a second way. The two opposite interior angles, if you add them together, they're equal to the exterior angle, 120. So if they give you this one 70, you can actually do 120 minus 70, and you would get 50. And then you would do 180 minus 130, because you're adding these two together to get 60. That's if you remember that opposite angle theorem, right, where the opposite two angles have to add up to the exterior angle. But I think this is very easy using this straight line here. It's not 60x. X is 60 degrees, and y is 50. All right, find the measurement of angle B. Very simply, these are vertical angles across from each other. B is 90 degrees. No other work done or needed. Okay, car service charges a fee of $10 plus $2 per mile. John was charged $35 total for his cab ride. Set up equation to solve for the total number of miles John's cab ride was. All right, we'll take it one step at a time. 10 plus $2 per mile. 10 plus 2M equals 35 in total for his ride. Nice and easy. Subtract 10 from each. And you get 2M equals 25. You divide by 2. And you get M equals half of 25 is 12.5. So his ride was 12.5 miles. Not bad. All right, equations. Big on this test. Do distributive property. Every time you see parentheses, just keep on going with distributive property and just put down every one of your answers. Bring down everything else plus distributive property again, 10x. 10 times -2, -20, equals 45. A lot of people have been having trouble. Remember, when you have, this is the wall. This is the equal sign. If you're not passing this equal sign, all you have to do is combine like terms. You do not use inverse operation. You do not do this, minus 10x, or minus 5x, minus 5x. Get the x's together. They already are together. So, 5x plus 10x is 15x. Combine like terms when they're on the same side. 50 minus 20 is 30 plus 30. And bring down the equals 45. Two-step equation. After you finish combining like terms, it looks like a two-step equation. It's great. It's great. Minus 30 on both sides. 15x. This is 30, by the way. Equals 15. This is a nice one because it comes to, the answer is 1. X equals 1. And that is all for that one. Okay, so there's a mistake on 2 of these questions, and here's one of them. All right, so find the measure of angle B. They say what angle B is. Angle B is 53 degrees. So obviously you have to find a measure of angle A. A lot of people were taking 180 and subtracting 53 from it. But in this case, these are perpendicular lines. Since there's a right angle here, there's a right angle here. Right angles are 90, not 180. So just be careful with that. 90 minus 53 to get A. Right, this is supposed to be A. Find the measure of angle A, obviously, because B is given. So you have 10 minus 3, which is 7, and 8 minus 5, which is 3. So you have 37 degrees. Not that bad. Here we go. Another huge equation. Remember, combine like terms. X plus 2x is 3x. The 11 has nothing to combine with, so you just bring it down. On the other side, 7 plus 4 is 11. And bring down the 3x because that has nothing to combine with. 3x plus 11, 11 plus 3x, same thing. Guess what? When you have the same thing on both sides, what does that mean? Infinite solutions. It means that any number, since they're both the same on both sides, since the expressions are the same on both sides, it means any number could go into here, substitute into x on both sides, and it would be equal, right? Because they're the same on both sides. If you substitute a 0 in here, 3 times 0 is 0 plus 11. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 11. 11 equals 11. Everything works, all right? So that is infinitely many solutions. All right, measure of angle 8. Here we go. Anytime they give it to you up here, I want you to put that 83 in right here. Substitute it right in. What's the measure of angle 2? In the class, I showed something called the Crisscross Method. That's kind of like my method just to make things a little bit easier for you without the math involved. And the way it works is that you just do a crisscross across the whole thing. All of the parallel lines through the transversal. So you're basically going from 8 to 6, which are vertical, crisscross to 6, crisscross to 4, which these are alternate interior, and then 4 crisscrosses to 2. So basically what you're doing is 8 and 6 vertical, 4 and 6 alternate interior, 4 and 2 vertical again. All right. The circled angles are all congruent. The circle angles are all congruent. The angles that are not circled, they're congruent to each other also. So you notice that 8 and 2 are both circled. That means 2 is 83 degrees. They are congruent. What's the relationship between 8 and 2? They're alternate exterior angles. These are alternate exterior angles. But the measure of angle 2 is just 83 degrees. No questions? Moving on. All right. Set up an equation to solve for the missing angles. Again, put this in. 4x plus 12. And then you have measure of angle 8, which is 12x plus 4. These are alternate, again, these are alternate exterior angles. You see the measure of this angle? It's acute. See the measure of this angle? It's acute. Obviously, they are the same. You can actually use the crisscross method here. You go to 1 to 4, 4 to 5, and then 5 to 8. You could see that if you circle both, that they are equal to each other. They're congruent. So, if angles are equal to each other, if they are congruent, you set them equal to each other. That's the only way. These are alternate exterior angles, and they are equal to each other. Now, this question on the test will ask you to stop here. It just asks you to set up an equation to solve for missing angles. So basically, you're finished. But let's go ahead and get some practice at solving for x here and what you have to do to find a measurement. Remember, you bring the smaller x over to the larger. Since you're passing in equal sign, you subtract the 4x on both sides. So you get 8x because it's 12x minus 4x and it's plus 4. So then again, you pass in an equal sign. You subtract 4 on both sides. You have 8x equals 8. And divide by 8 on both sides. Have to squeeze it in there. The 8's cancel. X equals 1. So in solving, all right, in this question they didn't ask you to solve. They just asked for this. Right, the equation. But in solving, every time you get an x, you have to go ahead and, I did this in class, Just draw that line all the way over to here. If you know, I mean, whatever works. So you just take 4x. Instead of x, put the 1 in, because that's what you solved. And it's plus 12. So 4 times 1 is 4. Plus 12. And it looks like that angle is 16. 16 degrees here. Now you have all the angles circled. 16 degrees here. 16 here. And 16 here. Okay? So now all you have to do is get measure of angle 2. And basically, since it's a straight line, straight lines, supplementary angles, subtract from 180. Okay, so you have 10 minus 6 is 4. 7 minus 1 is 6. And you have 164 for angle 2. You have 164 for angle 3. All the angles that are not circled are equal to each other. 164 for angle 6 and 164 for angle 7. Now, if they asked you relationships, 6 and 7 are vertical, 4 and 1 are vertical, 3 and 2 are vertical, 5 and 8 are vertical, alternate exterior angles are 1 and 8, 2 and 7, alternate interior 3 and 6, 4 and 7 corresponding, 1 and 5, 3 and 7, 2 and 6, 2 and 8. And you could see, I'm sorry, not 2 and 8, 1 and 8, 2 and 7. Went a little too fast there. So that's alternate exterior angles. And look, 1 and 8 are both 16 degrees. They are congruent. 2 and 7, alternate exterior angles are supposed to be congruent. 4 and 5, 16 and 16. So 3 and 6, 164 and 164, alternate interior angles. So just make sure everything works out. Remember, all supplementary angles are supposed to be, you're supposed to add up everything on a straight line for 180 degrees. 164 plus 16 is 180. 164 plus 16 is 180. This way, 7 and 8 supplementary angles. So that's about it. Okay, so you have 3/4 plus 8 equals 14. Minus 8 on both sides. Now you have 3/4 x equals 6. Anytime you have a fraction, multiply by its reciprocal. You can put a 1 underneath the 6 just to make it look like a fraction. The 4's cross-cancel, the 3's cross-cancel. What happens is when you multiply a fraction by its reciprocal, it really just equals to 1. Alright? So like if you took 3/4 and multiplied by 4/3, which is its reciprocal, the fraction equals 1, and that's why everything cancels out. And then you have 1x, which is what you wanted, was the x alone. 6 times 4 is 24. 3 times 1 is 3. So x equals 8 because 3 goes into 24 8 times. That's it. Alright, so you have number 15, negative 3.2 plus 12 plus 4.2x equals 16. Negative 3.2x plus 12 plus 4.2x equals 16. Combine like terms. They're on the same side. This is the wall. You did not pass it. Combine like terms. Negative 3.2 plus 4.2 is x, just 1x. Bring down to 12 and bring down to 16. Minus 12 on both sides. Minus 12 on both sides. X equals 4. I like that question. Nice and easy. Okay, so we have a huge question here. 16 and 17. And this is on the test. I kind of just took the numbers and changed them. It says two triangles are similar, which is not true. Alright, remember, similar triangles corresponding angles have to be congruent. All right, so we're going to check out the angles. All right, we're not going to check anything out. We're going to go from thing to thing here. All right, so there's three choices. One of them has to be not true. All right, and remember, similar triangles also have to form equal ratios. The corresponding sides form equal ratios. So angle Z is 60 degrees. Let's see. The Z corresponds with C. So this is 60. So that is true. They're looking at one for it's not true. This is out. That's true. Let's just take now BC, this side of the triangle, over YZ. Okay, so far that's okay. You could do that. Equals BA, that's this side, over YX. That's good. All right, this is true also. So let me erase that because I'm going to do the same thing on the other side for the last one. Obviously, the last one is the answer, but I'm just going to show you why it is the answer. Now you have BC again over YZ. That's good. BA, all right, BA over XZ. That's not good. All right. What the problem was is that once you say BA, once you had this BA, you had to have YX underneath it as the denominator, and you didn't. You put XZ. It doesn't match up corresponding sides, so this is the one that is not true. Based on number 16, the triangle ABC is similar to XYZ because two pairs of corresponding angles are congruent. All right, two pairs of corresponding angles are congruent. They're similar. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't really even know that. This is 60. This is 60. Also, this is 90. That's 90. If you have two angles that are two corresponding angles that are congruent, the triangle's automatically similar because you know that the third angle has to be the third corresponding angle has to be equal to each other. So, or congruent to each other. Sorry. Which of the following does not help prove the triangles that are similar? So let's go through them. Z and C are 60 degrees. Z and C are 60. That's true. So that's out. So this is true. Y and B are 20 degrees. That's true. Y and C do not match up. They do not correspond. And it says they're both 60 degrees. This is false. So this is the answer. And that's it. Just go through them one at a time. It looks like a tough question. It's not. Nice, easy giveaway question. One angle of a triangle measures 45 degrees. If you want to draw a picture, go ahead and draw a picture. You know, one angle of a triangle is 45 degrees. You have, let's see, here's a triangle. There it is. 45. But that's not a good triangle. Whatever. Get out of there. You don't need a picture, but you could draw a picture. Just draw a triangle. All right. You could draw something like this. Whatever. Something like that. So one of the angles is 45. One of the angles is 84. Come on, the question can't get any easier. So you add up the two. And you get 129 degrees. All right, so obviously you're missing that third angle. A triangle equals 180 degrees. And you subtract 129 from 180. And You got 51 degrees. If you have no calculator, you borrow. And that's basically it. So that third angle is 51 degrees. Number 19, again with the equations. I know, there's a lot of them. Negative 12x, use distributive property. You have negative 4 times 1, which is negative 4. You have plus 6x equals 6x. Listen, equations, I mean, I can't really tell you. I mean, they mean a lot. To get really good at solving equations, you're basically going to have a great year next year in high school. If negative 12x plus 6x, that's still negative 6x. And basically, you're going to have calculators. So that. So you have 6x plus 2 on the other side. I'm going to add this 6x to both sides. And a lot of people think that, well, this cancels, but this does not cancel. So you just go with what you have, and you just take your time. Because remember, 6x plus 6x, it looks like it would cancel, but it's not canceling. It's a positive 12x. And then you would subtract 2 on both sides. And I'm going to move this to the other side here. And then you have negative 4 minus 2, or a negative 4 and a negative 2. That's a negative 6. Equals 12x. Divide by 12 on both sides. And 12 cancels. X equals negative a half. Negative a half. Or negative 0.5. Whatever it is. 20, last one of the multiple choice. Thank goodness. You have just a simple question about a straight line. Okay? Remember, straight lines are 180 degrees, half a circle. Do 180 minus 112. Okay? So, nice and easy. You get 8, you get 6, you get 1. I'm sorry, you'll get 1. Alright, so this is 68 degrees. And that's it. Straight line. Multiple choice finished. Open-ended. Open-ended. Okay. So, this is 35 degrees. By the way, there's a mistake in this question. Alright, so this is one of the ones that I'm going to do. But we'll see what's going on here. Alright, so this is a straight line. Alright, so the measure of angle 2 is 35 degrees. 1 and 2, they're vertical. Is this the one with the mistake? I don't even know if this is the one with the mistake. So 1 and 2 are vertical, so that's 35 degrees. Now you have to find the measure of angle 4. Before I even go to 4, I'm going to try to get 5. And you really have to really just take a look here. You see the parallel lines? See them? These are alternate interior angles. See what I'm saying? This and this, they're alternate interior. So if you get this angle, you'll have 4. And then you can get 5 because it's an inside, they're interior angles. Right? So, so basically 4 and this, whatever this angle is, you have to get that angle. So this is a straight line right here. And this is where the problem with the question lies, is that this angle is not going to be drawn to scale at all. All right, so, and usually they are. So, but I'm just going to add 35. You can still do the problem. It's just not going to come out. It's going to come out like you're going to say, all right, that can't be that angle. So I'm going to add 35 and 30, and you get 65. And this is what the problem, the question is. And then you have to take 180 and you subtract 65 from it. So you put the 1 there, and this becomes 7, and you obviously have now 115 degrees. And if this angle right here is 115 degrees, forget about it, all right? They're not going to do this on a test. This is not 115 degrees. A small little angle, not 115. But let's just do it because this is the way you do it. All right, so you have 35, 115, 30. These are alternate interior angles. Guess what? 4 is 115 degrees. If you have to kind of tilt your paper, let's see if I could do that right now. See what I'm saying? See the parallel lines there? You see them. 4 and the angle right here, 4, they're alternate interior angles. That's what I'm talking about. Tilting your paper to make it a little bit easier for you. Do it. I mean, it's not a bad thing. So that's 115 degrees because they're alternate interior. So that's 115. Now all you have to do, the other interior angle of that triangle, all you really have to do is add 115 and 30 together, because that's the third angle of a triangle, and you get 145, and then take 180. It's always 180, except for in right angles. And you subtract. You get 135 degrees, which, I'm sorry, you get 35 degrees. It's the second time I did that. I'll get this subtraction thing. I'll get it. That's 35 degrees. So this is 35, this is 30, that's 115. The problem is here and here. It's really not 115. It can't be 115 degrees. I mean, things aren't drawn to scale, but they're not going to say that's 115 degrees because it would just mess up everybody. All right, so it's a bad question, but you could still get the angle measurements, and that is how you would get the angle measurements for the question like that. Okay, let's move on. Another boring question comparing two companies, and that's what it is. You have 30 plus 4 per month. 30. All right. 30 plus 4 a month equals, when you're comparing, 60 plus 2 a month. Yep. Bring the smaller over to the larger. You're passing an equal sign. That's the wall. 60 equals 2m. All right, so you have 30 plus 2m equals 60. Subtract 30 from each side. This cancels. You have 2m equals 30. And m equals 15 months. I mean, the only other thing that they could possibly do on a state exam is ask you at what point would one company be better than the other? Because at 15 months, they're the same. And if you look at it, company B, this is the answer, by the way, to the question. But they could ask you, company B, when is company B better than A? All right, become a better deal. All right, listen, company B charges 60 plus $2 per month. Company A charges 30 plus $4 a month. So the per month is basically more for company A than company B. But company B charges a flat fee of $60 when company A charges 30. But eventually, as the months go on, company A catches up to the price of company B, even though company B charged more in the beginning. They charge less per month. So at the 16th month, company B would actually be a better deal. Right? Sometimes they ask that question, so just be ready for it. So at 15 months, they would be the same, but 16 months, company B would actually be less money than company A. Okay, so here we go. Find angles Z, Y, and X. Love this question. So you're talking about Z, Y, and X. You just have to get, first off, I'm looking at X and Y. Get vertical angles. So you could just, if you can get X, you'll have Y. But even before that, well, let's try to get X, because that's where I would go first. This whole loop right here is 130 degrees. This whole thing right here is 130 degrees. So this is 130. Well, if that's 130, that's 130, and this is 90. This missing part here, you can get that missing part. All right, so this is 90. All right, this is 90 right here, and the whole thing with Z is 130. So I would do, first, I would just take 30 minus the 90. You know that's 90 because of that square there, that box. And you get 40 degrees. So now you know that this is 40. And look, 40 plus 90 is 130. So that's finished. Right, now you can get X. Because look, this is a straight line. Straight lines are 180. So 90 plus 40 is 130 already, you know that. All right, and X, actually you didn't even need to do that, but whatever. X is 180. I'm sorry. Straight line is 180, and everything is 130. And that is 50. So this is 50 degrees. All right. So just look. I mean, they give you 130 right there. You could just take 180 and minus 130 from it right off the bat, and you get 50 degrees. All right. So X is 50. If X is 50, Y is vertical to that. That's 50. You know, it's X. And Z. All right, so Z is 40. He didn't need to do that. And that's it. This is 50, vertical. That's how you do it. Look for the straight lines, and you'll be okay. Move that over there. Last question. It's missing. Hold on for a second. Okay, so last question was on a different page. Okay, there we go. Requires you to solve 5 equations and tell what the solution to each is? It's a long question, but I gave you one that is on the actual test. This is the first one that's on the test. And it says determine whether each equation has one solution, many solutions, or no solution. So they're going to give you like 5 equations, and this is one of them. Right? There's nothing to do really here but to just subtract 5n minus 5n. Right? So cancels, 9 comes down, does not equal -1. That's the work. That's no solution. None or no solution. And that's it. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I know today's the Super Bowl. It's very difficult to study today, but take a look at the review sheet. It's easy. Go through this video, use it, and that's it. Have a great night.